episode 3 of season 2 of Thinking podcast. And we have one of our usual suspects, Dumi, with us. And of course, my co host, Shoshin, is with me as well. For this podcast, for this session, we decided to talk about switching careers and basically the positives and the negatives of. Stop pointing, that's distracting. Anyway,
Hail Hitler!
cool. So as for the topic of this episode, we decided to talk about like how switching careers. The positives and negatives of switching between jobs and like how that affects a particular person or individual, I guess. Yeah. Where do we begin? So what's like good entry point into our discussion?
I would say having experience through a recent global epidemic where everyone was, most of our guys who are unemployed or put out of employment for obvious reasons, mainly because companies cannot afford to have employees anymore because the cost is too high, had a lot of people in the professional environment going into the thinking of, am I in the right career? One reason, because they saw that even though some of the industries were at a downfall, some of the industries were booming. And technically it was medical industry, obviously. It was the military industry, obviously, but at some point. But even when it comes to the field that I'm in, IT, it had a massive boom. Because the reason being, everyone started working from home. Whoever who can afford to have their job were working from home, and companies were investing more and more on laptops and having webcams and conducting meetings online on Teams, Zoom, and so on. So with that particular scenario in place, a lot of the professionals were under the impression, whether did I choose the right career for my future? Can my career sustain in a global epidemic situation? So in that scenario in mind, what we can address and what I would want to address is that how do you choose your career, or do you let the career choose you? How does it go, and how does one master going into a career where they think, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life, or can I do this for the rest of my life, or can I switch in between? So that is the sort of thing that I want to go into, because I think that will be more beneficial for our viewers anyways.
Cool. So like you said, I guess the global epidemic was kind of like an eye-opener for most people in terms of whether, like you said, whether they are in the right field, in the right job, and whether they should make that switch, right? For me personally, but then for me again, it's very similar to IT, because I'm in the digital field. So again, for me, that wasn't like really an eye opener per se. I enjoyed my time off really.
Yeah, but what made you? I think we've probably known each other for so long. I don't want to count. Since we were little boys, not running around in shorts. But in terms
that didn't sound weird at all.
That didn't sound weird. But so I known you as a person who wanted to do HR, and then you went into a wholly different field, going into digital marketing. And I think I know Joshi for some time now, and she was saying that even though you have one particular career in mind where you are into marketing and doing your thing with that, you are also into the whole psychology, the business psychology of things. So those are two. I wouldn't say those are two vastly different careers in mind. However, that's the sort of career switch that everyone is looking at. So, can I have your thoughts on what made you switch, either of you?
Okay, so for me, it was from HR into digital marketing, right? Okay, so the reason that I decided to get into the field of HR was, I think from the time I did my O levels, the very first time I opened the textbook and I came into, I came across the HR chapter. I knew that's what I wanted to do because it seemed like a pretty chill job. And you know me, I like my chilled out jobs, right?
Where you get paid for doing nothing.
Where I get paid for doing nothing, right?
Of course.
So
We all love that.
so at that time, my mentality was, okay, there's HR, there's finance, there's marketing, all these different departments in a particular company. If you take all of them, if you look at all of them in hindsight, HR is the most chilled out job that you can go into. Depends on the company, of course.
Yeah.
And then like soon after school, I just went in and got into the HR field, and then of course I progressed in the same industry. So yeah, the reason that it's a very simple and kind of, what can I say, kind of, no, not stupid, like kind of naive reason that I selected the field of HR, but then it worked out for me. So yeah, the reason that I made the switch was not something that happened overnight. It's something that happened gradually, of course, although it doesn't seem like it. Because my previous job had a bit of HR involved as well as a bit of digital, which I'm currently managing at the moment. So I think that's where kind of that change, the inception of the change kind of happened. So because the previous company that I was working at, I had a HR role as well as a role where I had to manage like digital services for the particular company as well. And then soon after I left that place, I decided anyway. So like I think it's the same for you as well. Like I have this idea that I don't stay in a particular office for more than 3 years. Right? At the minimum,
we don't see the point to.
Yeah. There's actually no point to stay in a particular office more than 3 years, right? Yeah. If you look at our parents or grandparents, of course, then they are
for the 25 years or so.
Yeah.
25. There's probably
with
more.
government servants 30, 35.
Yeah. Right. So when I came to the end of my tenure there at my previous place, I decided, okay. I actually got an offer from a friend, and they were starting their own digital agency. So it was something. I like the whole startup culture as well. So that's when I decided that okay, what the hell? So I'm gonna make that switch because I knew that of course that I didn't have a lot of experience in digital, right? But then it was something I knew that was where the future was at. Right? That's obvious. Digital is the future basically. So. I considered all those.
So you consciously made the choice of choose.
Yeah, so I considered all those different things, and then I decided to just go with it. And then it wasn't until very recently that I, really became proficient enough to call myself a digital marketer, because it was through that experience of managing these different companies that I finally got to a place where I am somewhat proficient in dealing with all these different social platforms and whatever it comes to digital marketing.
Yeah.
But it was, if you do look at it if you look at it generally, it was kind of a bold move for me to switch from HR to digital. But then again, it happened gradually because, like I said, in my previous job, I managed both. Yeah. So I had that platform.
Yeah.
But for me,
what you say is you technically got an inclination, a gradual incline.
Yes.
Towards going digital and to go into that space where you make a career out of it. Okay,
yes.
Fine.
Yes.
So you don't regret at any point?
No, I miss HR very much. To be quite honest, I miss it very much because I'm a person who enjoys having to deal with different people from different backgrounds. Okay. And
but don't you get the same experience as a marketer, a digital marketer?
Not as much, because as a digital marketer, more hours are spent in behind the screen.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And whereas in HR, more hours are spent conversing with the person. Right. Depends on the company, depends on what business you're in. But yes, I do. In all honesty, I do miss HR dearly. Just that, but then I do get a bit of that HR experience also when I go and get to go and meet clients and That's like my favorite part at the moment, actually. 'Cause I'm someone, although I got into digital marketing, I'm someone who really hates to, like sit in one particular place for more than 2 hours and, keep typing and, doing anything that's digital. I like the experience of, going out there and, meeting people and talking to people, interacting and all that. So when I started off at the digital agency that I'm currently at, it was mostly spent behind the screen.
Okay, so I understand that perspective of you missing HR in terms of, having that conversation with a person. I mean, people are interesting on their own, right? So
yeah,
I mean, getting into that conversation is a whole different topic. And you are an extrovert. I would say you're not an extrovert.
I'm an ambivert.
Ambivert.
Yeah.
So I think we all are ambiverts. So having said that, you are more interested in people than myself and other colleagues that we shall not mention who reads news for a living. But yeah. So in terms of, I'm interested in now what Joshi also did, because you said that you are into marketing and psychology and business psychology.
My interests are in psychology, business psychology.
Yeah, exactly. But you chose career. You chose marketing as a career. So what made you go into that, even though your interest lies somewhere else?
Mainly because I'm an extrovert, so I love talking to people, meeting people, and then much of like active sort of.
Clearly, we have found the right co-host. Sorry.
Well done.
Go on. Sorry. Yeah.
So, but then business psychology is like my interest, how people, why people do certain things, and what caused them to do certain things. Likewise, it's like the behind the scene of people's behavior and
You're talking about profiling of serial killers, or
for example,
we can go into that because Criminal Minds was based on that.
I just said that my movies.
That's a whole different episode right there.
On its own.
On its own. So, for example, it's like, okay, why would a person buy Coke instead of My Cola or something like that?
Is that what you're interested in?
Not really, in the sense I wouldn't say no, but then I'm much more intrigued of how for example, if a person behaves in a certain way, we just we tend to judge and we just let it go, right? But then I would like to think much more deeper into that person and see why is this person likewise. Okay. Why is this person behaving likewise? So that is my interest actually. But I would not like to make it a career.
Okay.
Where I would be a psychiatrist sort of. But then business wise, yes. Okay. How consumers are driven to buy certain things and their their behavior and likewise. So, but yeah, that's the main thing.
Right?
For me, I think it's kind of the human psychology part, the way people think. I like thinking of it in the sense that I just like thinking of it generally instead of the business angle. So the marketing,
the HR side of it.
Yeah, the HR side of it. So the marketing side is of course something not that I'm specifically interested in, at least at the moment. But yeah, the HR side of it is something that I have kind of been studying and observing and that is a field of interest for me. Just the marketing part, for example, but the marketing side of the human psychology is what you said you are looking forward to, right?
Yes.
Cool. So what does it mean exactly? Is it for example, is it something for example, why would a particular person buy a particular brand? What is the mentality behind that?
That's just an area of
I think that goes hand in hand with the game theory. I don't know whether you all know game theory or not.
Yeah.
But in terms of strategy, how you define, how you have two relevant products. Let's say 2 bars of soap which you wash clothes from. Why would one be inclined to be selling more than another? Maybe it's the history that this consumer has with that brand. Maybe the generation on generation. We've been calling them. So we have a couple of those brands in Sri Lanka as well.
Yeah.
So we've been calling that soap from
just
that brand name.
Brand.
Yeah,
like
sure.
tea.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like tea. So that whole scenario might be
A brand becomes the
provocation,
product
yes,
itself, yeah.
might be the
Yeah.
provocation of someone to go and buy this particular brand or particular product. So I think that's sort of what you are getting
Like
into.
intrigued, yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah,
intrigued
yeah,
by, right?
yeah.
So no, I understand that.
Have you heard of the neuroeconomics and neuromarketing?
Yes, yes, exactly.
That's sort of like
No.
another sub area, like specific area of like.
Yeah, so neuromarketing is where you basically target everyone's neuropathic responses to a certain scenario. So we would YouTubers
like the
do it a
brain
lot.
behaviors, like
Exactly,
how you
exactly.
detecting,
So,
yeah.
so some YouTubers have a trend recently where they put up Amazon gift cards
Yeah.
all of a sudden,
Hmm.
right? That even though we don't see it, or it's a split second, we have a response saying that okay, this guy is giving away free stuff.
Yeah.
I need to watch more videos.
Yeah,
Right.
So that's what's
Okay.
neuromarketing and all stuff like that. So I know, I understand that, and that's a brilliant field to be in. I think I think the research in that field is
Yeah,
limited,
much
so you
more.
can
Yeah.
do your own research, and
Yeah.
I think Sri Lanka is a proper green field,
true, yes,
you know,
true.
in terms of neuromarketing. So
Yeah,
that's good. I mean, so the reason behind you investing time on learning about the human behavior is something that was with you throughout your life, or is it something that you've grown accustomed to after you switched to the professional career?
No, business psychology was my interest from a long
Yes,
time.
but psychology in
was.
general.
But I'm sorry, your question again?
Yeah, so the human psychology and how you were interested in human psychology is something that you've had for a long time, or is it just after that you've got into working that you've
No. It was there. I always wanted to do like research about know more about it, but then I didn't want to make a career out of it.
Okay,
So
fine.
yeah, it's more of like an interest. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. No, so in terms of me, I've gone from working for the government to IT, and that was a huge leap. The reason why I did that is because for me, I get bored easily. So if I do get bored, I don't want to work there.
Same.
Yeah, exactly. So I think everyone is the same. So for me, what interests me more is learning new things. And obviously government is to do with learning new things as well, but not at the pace that I am accustomed to, that I like to do. So in terms of that and keeping that in mind, my switch to IT was, I would say, drastic for me, because the learning curve was huge. It took me at least about a year to understand what I was talking about, and talking to clients and all of that stuff, and then another year and to get matured in what I'm selling and all that stuff. So that whole leap, I think, is what people we were talking about post-pandemic, what people are thinking about right now, and what got me through. And I think she asked you a brilliant question: do you regret? And you said yes. So for me, I don't. I love what I do. So in terms of regret, what do you mean? So why what so the reason why people, I think I'm touching into her field. I'm not stepping on your toes. But so the reason why people regret things is because people still can do it differently, but they choose not to.
What do you mean? People
So
can
you can still go into HR, but
Yeah.
you choose not to.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I have the
Yeah.
option, but I choose.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. And why do you think that is?
So it's like this. So initially, okay, so I think regret is a bit of a strong word, but then I do miss HR, so that is the bottom line. But the reason that I made the switch was not necessarily because I wanted to move into digital marketing, but because I was accustomed to that startup culture.
And a lot of startups does not have an HR.
Yeah, and I wanted to, be part of this new startup as well, right? And this new startup that I'm currently in basically offered me these different avenues, and I'm still free to choose within those avenues, which I have which I still am, you know, like I'm actually jumping between departments here, and like I have the freedom to do that, right? So which was cool. I'm not really like.
You're free to take the phone call if you
Oh
want.
no, sorry.
I'm not really stuck. I mean, I'm not really limited with my options. It's very hard to say. Like, I mean, if I want to, like, even now, I can always make that switch to HR, right? Just because I miss HR,
You're consciously making that effort.
just because I miss HR doesn't necessarily mean. Okay, so one reason that I chose HR in the first place is, okay, ideally, if you ask me what I wanted to do since I was a kid, I would have loved to say, okay, I like to be a film director, right?
Yeah.
But then
we grew up with that. Yeah.
So you know, we all have these dreams that we haven't really pursued. I'm sure, like we all have like a secret, you know, ambition that we never followed, right? So for me, it was to become a film director. So I mean, I weighed my options, and then like locally, obviously, it wasn't going to work out. Internationally, sure, the option was there, but then it would have been like really expensive. So I wanted to like firstly, you know, have like a firm ground for myself. So and all that. So then I, you know, like weighed the options there. Okay, finance, marketing, HR, or whatever it is. So then I chose HR there. So a field which I'm comfortable with to make money and, you know, be independent on my own. So that's why I chose HR, right? But also the reason that I chose HR was twofold. So one was because obviously it'll get me to a certain place where I'll, you know, be able to be independent on my own. And also it's a field of my interest as well, where I get to, you know, interact with people, meet people, you know, deal with people, which is always interesting. So it had both those options together. So I decided to go with HR. So now that I am kind of, you know, independent, you know, in terms of finances and all that whatnot, I have the freedom to switch from, you know, HR into digital marketing or whatever it is. So now I'm basically, you know, kind of exploring these different options that are available to me. Since so in HR, when I say I miss HR, it's just that interaction that I had with people that I miss, not necessarily the documentation or the theoretical part, right?
I see.
So it's just that specific thing,
That you
which
do
I still can get
exactly
in my current office and wherever
job there.
else as well. So for that reason, I don't necessarily see why I have to necessarily switch back to the HR industry. So that is there.
Yeah. So it's interesting to know why. I mean, thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah.
So I think you cleared it up for yourself as well, where you thought that you actually miss HR, but you don't. You actually miss the interaction that you have with people. So that's interesting, because I mean that I have that same question for you, right? So how do you know why you don't want to do business psychology or psychology in general? Because I think we have great psychologists in Sri Lanka now, and that's a market on its own which is growing. So what you made a conscious decision not to pursue that field, and the reason being, I mean, you said that it doesn't interest you as much to make a career out of it. But why do you think that is? Do you think that you're not interested enough on it, or do you think that your interest might consume you later on to your work, and you will not be able to balance life with it, or your social life with it? Or
Not really. My main concern was about, I'm more of like, I would consider myself as a business marketer. I'm more business conscious.
okay,
So when it comes to business psychology, it's understanding the stage behind, right?
okay,
So why I would not make it as a career is because I'm always business conscious. So I think that is my answer for it. Yeah.
okay.
It's not like but I would love to be specialized in neuromarketing, neuroeconomics and
Yes.
stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
like learn more about like how the human brain works and
Yes.
the patterns and all of that.
Yeah.
But not make it as a career as such that I'm not that passionate to psychology
okay.
as a psychiatrist.
Okay.
But
you are with marketing.
yes,
Is that what you're
exactly,
saying? Okay. Yeah, I understand completely. So, in terms of that, I think that's a interesting topic on itself. So, this is something that I want to get into coming into this topic. So, people who are thinking of switching jobs, people have been switching jobs for ages. now there's a new trend where you can make 2 careers rather than one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So a lot of people, I mean, I have friends who have postgraduates in applied sciences, who is also a lawyer,
Yeah.
and like who's a marketeer, who's also a lawyer,
Yeah.
or who's also a
Accountancy
yeah,
and a lawyer.
yeah,
Sure.
who's an accountant and also a art director.
Okay.
So completely different things,
Different, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So because if you're an
And a
art
lot of
director,
pilots are into getting into a tech and
exactly technology.
business as well.
Yeah, so aerospace engineers are getting into IT.
Yeah.
So I've in my career I've met so many people like that,
Yeah.
and for them at
They're
least
making it like a sort of, some people are making it as a B plan, but some people are like doing it passionately. You know?
yes,
Like,
but technically I'm not talking about making it a B plan, because B plan is something that you do
something
it
goes wrong
exactly
in
with
the
your
first
aim.
career. Yeah.
But I'm talking about
Planning
you having
for it.
2 A's.
2 ways. Okay.
So there's no separation in between.
Okay.
You are known as two separate
separate,
person who has 2 separate
Yeah.
careers.
I think which is a good thing, right? Because like
Yeah.
I don't know, like, but
how
compared
do you say that that's a good thing?
that's a good, I don't know, my perspective, I have always been advised to like focus on one thing, which
Okay.
I'm not.
I mean, that's the norm in Sri Lanka, and that's the norm in the world, where you,
Yeah.
if you are good at something, just do it, not think
Not-
about anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but then I don't, I do not discourage it, but then at the same time, like, have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yes.
So I'm sure Robert has kind of advised not to be specialized in one thing, get to know little about everything,
Everything,
right? Like
exactly.
from, like that's actually
Yeah,
much
yeah.
more advantageous when you like, know. But then when compared to our parents and then like a lot of seniors of us, they always advise us to be specialized in one thing, do one thing, which is good actually,
Yes,
because you need to
yes.
focus on one thing, and likewise. But there could be counter arguments as like why you should not,
obviously,
and likewise.
but the thing with so let's take Tesla for an example. So he's not from a techie background, but he has done marvelous things with his company, and 3 companies which I am very fond of, as you said, Tesla, Boring Company, and SpaceX and PayPal. So PayPal, of course, not as prominent as before, but the Boring Company, what they are doing right now is amazing, and that's something that he's going into a place where nobody else is going. And the whole naming of it in itself is interesting for us, because it's the Boring Company.
Yeah.
And the first product they made was the flamethrower,
Yeah.
which nobody the propane flamethrower.
So Elon Musk that way is just a guy who is daring enough to, who isn't afraid to move into an industry or move into a different segment, or rather create his own segment that he feels like creating, right?
Yes. And that's interesting, because I think that's what we were going to from the 2 careers perspective. The creativity that roots within a person is what eventually becomes his career, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And the what we've been doing so far in terms of economics, what we've been doing so far is that we are a knowledge-based economy for so long.
Yeah.
We've been a knowledge-based economy since 1980s. As long as economy existed, we've been a knowledge-based economy, right? But now, and this is something that I got from another person who I was talking to, was that this is not a knowledge-based economy anymore. It's to do with creative-based economy, right? So we are a more creative economy. So whatever that you create will define you eventually.
Oh, sure.
So you yourself define yourself, right? Rather than the job defines you,
Yeah.
right? So in that sense, do you think that people have 2 separate identities going into, who has 2 separate careers? What do you
Okay,
think?
so first thing is, I don't know how related this will be to the question that you asked, but like, I guess for myself personally and for everyone in the world generally, there are 2 big questions when it comes to selecting a job, and that is, are you good at it, and is it what you like to do, right? And if you're a person who has ticked both those squares, good for you, right? You're there.
Thank you.
do not move out of it. Stay
won't.
there.
I won't.
Right? So that's a bit of a juggle and bit of a struggle for people to decide, okay, do I go into the field that I like to be in, or do I go into the field that I'm good at?
Yeah.
Right. So I've read some books where they've suggested, okay, go into the field, completely forget the field that you're good at and do what you like to do, right? And then there were other certain literature that said, okay, no, just do what you're good at, right? So it's a juggle. So people are still deciding between what they're good at and what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, we can take the lead guitarist at Queen, so he's an astrophysicist.
Yes.
Yeah, he teaches astrophysics and
Yeah.
he is the lead guitarist at Queen.
Yeah.
So.
So you're really lucky if you come across if you manage to tick both those boxes, right?
Yeah.
And those cases are very rare, although we have one in front of us. Yeah, it's I mean good for you if you have ticked both those boxes. But I feel like those two are the two biggest questions that arises when it comes to selecting.
Yeah, no, I mean.
But
that,
if I put the same question into specializations,
okay.
so if you're like specialized in one aspect,
Mm-hmm.
how could you, what is the counter argument of ticking those two boxes?
Yes. So in terms of that, I think when you are specialized in one field, so you're good at it. Obviously, you're already good at it. What you mean to say is when you are specialized in something, you're already good at it. No?
Yes.
So what needs to change is whether you like it or not.
Like it or not.
Right? So I know, well, technically I know a lot of people who are close to me who were good at something but didn't like it and then made the switch to going into liking it. One person that I know, and I adore this person for that reason, is someone who went into doing something which is very, very menial job to software engineering,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And
Because
he
likes software.
because he likes software
Okay.
engineering, right? And at the time he did not know anything. He did not have any paper qualifications going into software engineering and all those stuff. However, gradually, he himself learned from the resources that is available to him, up to a point where now he's regarded as one of the greatest software engineers in the world.
Okay.
Right? And I have the privilege of knowing him for so long, and so because of that, I know that just because you specialize in something. And he was specialized in not so techie thing, not so techie thing. I don't want to go into detail about what we were doing, but he was specialized in that, and then he made the switch. He made the conscious switch to what he liked. So from him going from bottom to the top, and I think it took him 15 years to do so. But now,
15 years.
15 years to do so. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So he actually liked what he did, and
Okay.
he loved what he did. So
Okay.
the whole passion.
That's pretty impressive. Like we are just like like 15 years. That's
Yeah,
like
15
half
years
of
since
the,
he switched. Yeah, but because of that, he's now a much more happier person. I think to answer to your question is, I think we have to also go into the whole psychology aspect of it, not just liking and specialization, to who you are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it
we-
draws
we-
back to your
Exactly,
origin, yeah.
exactly. So we just introduced ourselves as ambiverts, and then you said that you were extrovert. But deep within, who you are actually will also determine whether you actually like your job or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you're not someone who gets bored easily, you can do a government job, no problem. Jesus Christ, you can do the best government job that is available to you.
Yeah.
So
Or if you're lazy and
Yes.
you're I
we're
mean,
not
okay,
saying the government is lazy, but
or you are okay with a certain monotonous,
yes, environment
Yeah,
throughout,
yeah,
and
yeah.
where you don't have to, overperform or underperform.
Yeah.
Or there's no,
yes.
there's no remedies, or there's
Yeah.
stuff like that. So then, yes, that's a great way to be. But also, if you are someone who are interested in other things, interested in new things, you look at the newest phone that comes out, you look at the newest movie that comes out. That is something different to someone being bored. That's someone who's interested in his own field. So, for me, I think as long as I've known you, you've defined yourself as an individual who wants to go into film.
Yes.
But that changed, and now you are in digital market. Well, I could say that you are also doing films here, but
But it could
which you
lead
are.
to which could
Yeah.
lead to
Which
film
you could
production
lead
as
to
well.
going into higher productions.
Yeah.
But So the decision that was made was due to, we could say that it was due to monetary, but then the aftermath of the
Yeah.
decision is what I'm interested in. So you said that you regret it, but not so much anymore. That you just like the whole aspect of getting familiar with people.
Yeah.
The aftermath of realizing that you are not chasing your dream, does that scare you or not?
So to that point, something like while you were discussing, while you were explaining what you were talking about earlier, I was just thinking to myself, there are certain professionals who have excelled in a particular job, who have gone on to excel in something completely different, right? Like you said. I'm thinking of actors who have become musicians and musicians who have become actors,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
I was actually thinking of Jared Leto,
Okay.
who was
So musician
in one
as
of
you know
the-
him, yeah.
yeah, who
Turns
initially
into
started
Mars.
off as
And actors who
really,
have gone to politicians.
yes, yeah, good.
We have that. We have that.
We have a lot of that.
Yeah. Arnold
Unfortunately.
Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, yeah. So the reason that I was thinking that was like, I feel like people need to have the freedom to do whatever the hell they want, right? So just because I'm in digital marketing at the moment doesn't necessarily mean that I can't just record a movie and just put it on YouTube, right?
Yeah, and
It's just
also whether or not you will be good at it.
Yeah. So like I said, on a particular book that I read, it said, okay, always follow what you want to do and not necessarily what you are good at. And then there were other literature that I read which said that, okay, no, focus on what you're good at, right? So I have a completely different theory on that. My theory is do whatever the hell you want,
Yes.
right? And because no one's limiting you, no one's
Yeah.
telling you, okay, just stick to this. So you can be in a completely different industry, but you can try a million different things if you know how to manage the time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because there are people who are doing that, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking of Jared Leto. So he is a philanthropist. He's a musician. He's a really popular musician. He won an Academy Award as well for his acting. So I'm sure he does a lot of different things. I just named 3 or 4. So I'm sure there's a better example as well somewhere out there, a person who has probably gone into all these different fields and become prominent in all of them, right?
Yeah. I mean, Bill Gates.
Yeah.
He's a humanitarian now, but he was not a humanitarian before.
Yes.
He was a businessman,
If you look at certain people, like if you look at certain people who are
Sometimes you want to become like everything. You want to do this, you want to do that.
Yeah.
And like,
go ahead.
But some people are actually good at every single
every single thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So my point is, even if you are not good at every single thing, just try it out. If you want to, if you want to, just try it out.
Yeah.
You can suck at singing, absolutely. Just try it out.
Yes.
Right now, a thing like guitar, you can learn and be good at it.
Yeah.
But singing is something. If you are not born with the talent, it's gonna take you like a long time to practice and get there.
Yeah.
But fine, just get there. Even if you still suck, if you really have a passion for it, just try.
Yeah, I think we had this
Right.
conversation before about Bob Dylan. So I mean, Bob Dylan
Yes.
is one of the greatest of
Yeah,
all time.
yes,
but
exactly.
he can't. I mean, I won't say he can't sing for shit. He can sing.
So Bob
But-
Dylan, the thing with him was the award that he received speaks for itself. So he was a lyricist, right?
Yeah.
And literature was his interest, right?
Yeah.
So he got into the field of music, maybe not necessarily because he was good at singing, but because he was good at writing songs and writing lyrics, right? Creating good lyrics. So for that reason, he became a musician as well. Maybe he didn't want anyone else singing his music and becoming popular. So good for him, right? It worked for him, right?
Yeah.
So that is an instance where where a particular person was specialized in was born with the talent to operate in one specific topic under an industry. Like, so it was the music industry and it was lyrics for Bob Dylan, right? So because he was a lyricist, he decided to sing as well. So he had to he had to tick all the other boxes as well.
Yeah.
But he only wanted to write lyrics, right?
Yeah.
So there might be other people like that as well.
To quote the man, the
Yeah.
man in me is the song that you were thinking of, probably from The Big Lebowski.
Good movie.
Good movie. So that's interesting on itself. What you said, do whatever the hell that you want to do, because people are still scared and skeptical about the society's image of them. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know for what this day and age we have in terms of gender equality, we are doing major things to have equality around. I mean, about who you want to be with and all of that stuff, right? So we are trying to get those rights in, right? We are in a society where gender equality is thriving and people are consciously abiding by it, right? So in that scenario, why can't, because I mean, yes, we understand that your sexuality is something that is more prominent than your career, but I want to see that switch of society looking at career as not a way of defining someone. I think that's the way forward in terms of whatever the hell you want to do, because
we have that. Do you think that you can do you think that we can like sort of remove that from the thinking?
Yes, so there are ways, but in terms, it will take a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, it will take a long time. But in terms of, so I mean, the
like
sexual thing,
like, for example, like our families, our parents, if you're not, if your daughter or son is not a doctor or a lawyer, you're not like, you know,
you're part of the family.
So what I was going to say was the sexual enlightenment started in 1960s and still going on.
Yeah.
We are not still done.
Yeah.
So in Sri Lanka, I don't think we are enlightened enough to go through that. But in terms of defining yourself, defining individuals from their career, it'll take a long time. But for people who are rebels, like the people who I call rebels, because they have the guts to go on from one career to another and then not even regret once, and just go through it. So I know that those people exist in each and every one of us. Every person wants to do that. I mean, I don't think anyone wants to do the same damn job for the rest of their life just because they're good at it. Because there'll be times,
change. They won't like,
and there'll be times that you're frustrated. I mean, you can't be doing the same thing over and over again.
I think that's only our generation. Like, I do think that it's the same with the old generation. They're like really comfortable. They're so afraid to go out of that comfort zone. Even if they were offered like better financial, like, you know, like offers, they still wouldn't go.
I think that's to do with risk.
They're much more risk averse than
yes. I think that's also because their parents also was not very risk friendly people.
To the extent.
Well, it was, I guess, the way I see it was probably the environment that I mean, right now the environment facilitates. Especially for the younger generations, it facilitates all these different, the freedom of moving into all these different industries and jobs, and that at the moment you do have all these like new and up and coming jobs as well, like the one that we talked about in the previous episode, which was crazy, the snake milkers, right? My point is, so at the time, like if we look at our parents and especially our grandparents, right? So there were wars, there were civil wars, there were world wars, there were economic crises, there were cold wars. So you know, all these environmental factors really factor into the monotonous jobs that they probably went into as well, right? So we need to consider the environment back then as well. And now obviously, like if you speak to any social scientists worth their credit, they will say that this is right now the best time to live in, right? Okay, so that freedom that we have got at this moment gives us the option of doing whatever the hell we want, right? We don't have to stick to one job like our parents did. Their mentality was probably created through the environment at the time, right? So now that the environment is more freeing, we have more freedom to, like pretty much, branch out into all these different jobs as well.
The counter argument to that is, which I have, is the introduction of the computer, right? We understand that Charles Babbage made the computer, but we actually think that it was, Turing with the Enigma and all that stuff. But the introduction to the computer and the consumer was in 1984, and people who went into that industry are thriving right now and is resilient to a global pandemic situation, right? So don't you think that those people had the same type of mentality or societal pressure in terms of taking a risk from that, because 1984 we were in the midst of Cold War. We had the economic crisis happening just after Korean War, and then going into the Gulf with the other wars in terms of Israel, the 6-Day War and stuff like that. So just I don't think the societal pressure was the main factor in terms of going into a separate field of studies and stuff like
No,
that.
it's not the main factor. It's one of the factors.
It's one of the factors.
Yes.
Because I think it's also to do with, as you said before.
I think it depends on region to region, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Sure.
yeah.
Correct.
Because I think it's the more connected that we are informative of what's happening around the world.
Yeah.
It's making us more free.
Yes.
I think that's also a factor right now,
Yeah.
because now we call ourselves very free from what we were. I mean, a couple of years ago, I
Yeah.
mean, even 2005-6, we could say that we
Yeah,
are free,
yeah,
not from a civil war, but
Yeah.
But yeah,
in terms
compared.
of living our day-to-day lives and
Yeah.
societal pressure, I think we've come a long way. So I think the information throughout the globalization concept, which is ridiculous to start with, but that's a whole different topic again. But the information flow between one place to another, and from an open culture to a closed culture, I think
it's moving fast right now with this pandemic situation,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Don't you
exactly,
think so?
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Because
don't
you are
think
forced to change careers, like
Yes.
you are like, forced to work virtually, and
Yeah.
then some jobs are not required anymore.
I think that's a great example, because I mean, other than the people who are working IT,
Yeah,
everyone else is not exposed to how you work virtually.
virtually.
Yeah, so that concept in itself is also very interesting to talk about people judging other people. And so let's not go into deep about whether we judge others or whether they judge us, because that's for them to figure out and not us. But in terms of closing remarks, do you have any? So whether you want to.
So my only closing remark is what I mentioned earlier. I think just do whatever the hell you want to do. Sure, there are all these environmental limitations, and your parents might tell you to do something else, but then the important thing is to manage those as well, but still to manage those and still go ahead to do whatever the hell you want to do, whatever your interest is in. You don't limit yourself to one job. If you want to, that's fine. If that's your interest, if you want to stick to one thing and specialize in that, more power to you, just do that. But then if you want to branch out into different things while being in the same field that you are in, just go ahead and try it out, is my final remark.
Joshi, you have anything to share?
I'm pretty much the same. I hold the same opinion of what Surat said. And
Okay. So
wait,
yeah.
Shit. You have to cut that off. I think I pronounced the name wrong.
No, you said it right.
Yeah.
You said sorry.
I said Surit. Okay. Fine. Then fine.
Yeah. So I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. But I think we in terms of society.
Dumi agrees. Which is very rare.
I couldn't do the
Dumi approves. Okay.
But I think in terms of a societal perspective, we've a little bit back from people.
Because different people
everyone,
hold
yeah.
different perspectives.
Exactly. Everyone doing whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
So for now, at least, what I need to tell to people is that whatever that makes you happy, do it. And if you think that you are getting less unhappy day by day, understand who you are first,
Yeah, exactly.
and then make the switch.
Yeah.
If you are intrigued by, as me, if you are intrigued by IT, by all hail IT, and then go into IT. I want as much as people on IT, so that's why I'm boasting. But
we need 500,000 jobs more.
yeah, well, we have jobs. Don't worry.
No, I'm saying that we need 500,000 more students to come into IT sector because we are lacking.
Of course, yeah. I mean, we have enough jobs in our company itself. So
Shame.
A bit
Shame.
annoying.
plug in.
Send your applications now.
Don't. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to emphasize. If you're not happy with what you're doing right now, dig deep and find out who you are, and then switch to the career that you think that you should be in.
Cool. So that wraps up this episode of Thinking Hat. And like Dumi said earlier, do what makes you happy. And what would make me really happy is if you do subscribe to our channel and like our episode as well.
Nice.
You
I
like that?
I like the segment.
I like it too. So we do have some interesting topics coming up in the following weeks. And then Shoshini and I will be We'll be interviewing some interesting new people. So that's something to look forward to. So cool. Catch you guys in the next episode.